What's up, everybody? It's Jason Skills back with another video and back with another ranking. I am ranking 2016 today. Why today? Because it's Sunday stream day. I was over on Calvin Wazoo's channel. Richard, if you haven't checked out his channel, Richard aka Calvin Wazoo, do check it out. I'll put a link down below. Every Sunday I join a panel of other experts in the vinyl community. Self-described, of course, and as we go through each year. So today was 2016, so I thought I will wrap up for you my top 12 picks. Now, according to my Discogs, yeah, it was another big year of vinyl buying, especially records. I mean, we had already launched our shop at this point, so I was buying a lot of things, sometimes 2 copies, one for me, one for the shop. Still really peak years, too, for some really nice underground, interesting techno, weird techno, left field techno stuff coming out, especially on the Lies label. Also a label called Bank out of New York City, which you're going to see some of that in today's video. Yeah, according to my Discogs, close to 400 releases that I had in there from the year 2016, if you can believe it, including 7s and CDs and tapes. I'm not going to show any 7s, CDs, or tapes in this video. I'm going to do a separate video, again, as I usually do, my top 5 tape picks of the year. But this is going to be strictly vinyl, even though it feels like these days we're living in peak vinyl days, and the vinyl trend may be ending soon if the prices keep rising. None of these records I'm going to show cost me $75 or $50 for that matter, or even $40 or even 30. So number 12, I'm going with this release out of Portugal. I don't often have or show any Portuguese records, label or artist or otherwise. I believe the artist is also from Portugal. The label definitely is. It's on Eye for an Eye Records, and the artist is Gam. Seems to be kind of a split, actually, between Gam and Colectivo Vandalismo, if I said that right. But it seems like Gam is also in that other group as well. Gam stands for Golden Omnipresent Mystery. This record is solid. I almost didn't include it in the top 12 just because I don't play it often or enough, maybe. But look at the solid, really cool silkscreen style kind of album cover. And yeah, it's just got really cool old school industrial vibes, kind of like, you know, maybe some early Cab Voltaire, a little harsher than that, I would say. What are my notes here? Lo-fi, distorted synths going on. Nice slow jam on track 2 of side B, but probably the best track is on side B, opening track CCC, which got a slow lo-fi groove. Kind of reminds me a little bit of my buddy Kevin Jung Shadow. For some reason, there's just some kind of connection there with one of his tracks, I feel like. So that's my number 12, is Gam from Portugal on Eye for an Eye Recordings. I have a few things on that label. Next up, we're going stateside, and we're going to some hardcore D-beat. This is Vagra. With the umlaut, you think maybe like a European band or something, but nope, straight out of Gainesville, Florida, which I've never been, but apparently that is a college town. I think that probably explains some of the music scene. Actually, on Discogs, I think it said the band is halfway between there and New York lately, but nevertheless, this is demo 2016, which I think was also on cassette. This is a great ripper, just really fast, hardcore D-beat, kind of pissed off, angry. But the production's really nice. The vocals are not like too up front. They're a little bit behind, a little bit back in the mix, just enough to make you want to re-listen this thing over and over again. It's very engaging, and the tracks are super small, super short anyway. So really cool record. In fact, I like this one so much I actually bought a couple copies of it. I have a second copy in the shop right now for that Vagra from 2016. Number 10, I'm going with some metal, some tech metal, some tech death metal, in fact, cognitive. Yeah, technical death metal. I was trying to look up to see if I actually saw these guys live. I feel like I did, because I think I got the record at a show. Now, another funny kind of tidbit about this story is it's actually my second copy of this record, because I bought it at a show, I think, and sold it, and then rebought it again. So It was meant to be in my collection, I believe. It is on that colored vinyl stuff that all the kids rage about, and the old folks too. It's on Unique Leader Records, and just solid all the way through. Really cool tracks. Super tech death, super technical, kind of insane. They are from New Jersey. I don't have a favorite song from this record because I don't listen to it every day, and the songs do sound a little similar to each other, I will say. Hence, it's at number 10. Number 9, I am going with a New York maestro, if you will, of underground techno, weirdo electronics. I love this guy. I love everything this guy's doing. By the way, he put out a split cassette for this year too, but I'll show that in a separate video when I do the tapes for 2016. I'm talking about Nick Klein. You see him there. This is the Rhinestone Cowboy EP on Lies Records, favorite label of mine. Especially in the mid-2010s, Lies was really doing it up well. And Nick Klein just totally nails it. It's like weirdo, techno, kind of industrial beats, odd shit going on. Favorite tracks on this one, A2, The Party Has Been Over. And I think B2, Everybody, is the other killer track. Yeah. B2 is like an off-kilter, wacky techno thing. Crunchy Goodness. And A2, The Party Has Been Over, is Killer Groove. Some spooky sounds underneath, subterranean. Nick Klein. I'll put some links down below. Definitely worth checking out. He's still doing stuff. I think I saw on the Instagram that he recently performed live, maybe in a New York subway or something, just doing some like random harsh noise or drone. Just cool ass guy. Number 8. All right, number 8, we are going to jump back into hardcore. And a fairly recent pickup, actually. I got this in the last year or so. Cool album cover as well. This is Anxiety, band out of Glasgow, Scotland. It's on the La Vida Es un Muse label, which is probably part of why I picked it up. Didn't know anything about this band. Just really awesome. Sort of noisy punk. I think the label describes it as like a heavier, crazier version of, or hardcore version of Butthole Surfers. The vocals do have some effects. There's some effects going on in here. Not like over the top. It's a little bit more subtle, but there's definitely reverb and some weird shit going on. And it makes it really interesting, actually. So love this record. It's kind of, this one's growing on me. Probably a year from now, it's going to be even higher in this top 10 list. But right now, I got it at number 8. Yeah, it's just kind of loose. I was going to say, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Gizm from Japan, but not quite as experimental and crazy as Gizm. But I don't know. That it's there. That's what I'm putting out there. But yeah, some just really cool stuff. Almost a bit psyche, a bit. And songs are pretty short too, 1 to 3 minutes long. I think the longest one is like 4 minutes or something. But that's number 8. Number 7. Going back with electronic music and a label that I've always ranted and raven about, Lies Records. So 2016, Lies is starting to get into more albums, it seems like, and EPs, etc. Well, they're already doing EPs, but more on like a 12-inch style sleeve, etc. Here you got some nice cover art. And you got the Inhalants, which is a duo from the States. They're going down deep Florida this time. Honestly, this thing totally matches the electronic sounds you're going to see, as well as that green, swampy green as well. This is murky stuff. It's 2 people. It's a guy that goes by Jahilia Fields. Am I saying that right? I've got some singles by him, and also another guy, another person, Max something, who also goes as Patricia, releases under Patricia. So here they are together, Inhalants, and this is absolutely solid. Probably one of the best Lies releases maybe of the year. And I don't have a favorite necessarily, although I do play A2 Dark Duties the most. I've played that in a lot of sets. It's just dark, murky stuff, subterranean, sometimes kind of ambient. Spooky stuff, other times lo-fi beats, etc. Really good album. Solid. Recommend it. 6. All right, number 6. We are going to go back here to a local band out of Canada. We got some black metal from Occult Burial. A new band emerges on the scene in 2016. These guys are all well known locally in Ottawa. They play in other bands, etc. I think it's like Dan and Joel. And yeah, I was eagerly anticipating this record because at first we just saw them sort of live. And the demo came out, which I didn't get a copy of the demo. Still kicking myself on that. It sold out fast. But I got the album. Hideous Obscure. Really cool album. Sometimes a bit of a slow grower as well, but here's the inner sleeve. Hideous Obscure. Just some great blast beats, super evil sounding vocals, and a little bit of that trashy kind of hardcore, a little bit of crusty hardcore thrown in there too, I think, for influence wise. So just really fun black metal. Again, from Ottawa, Occult Burial. That's going to be my number 6. So just out of the top 5. Don't play it enough. They do have a newer album too. They just came out in the pandemic, so I'm gonna give that more spins. Number 5, I'm gonna go with a pretty basic looking record here in terms of sleeve design, but a pretty important one anyway. This is on Common Thread label, and the artist is Identified Patient. I'm saying important because I think this is one of the ones. It seems like a bunch of stuff on this label is kind of reselling for a pretty high price nowadays. Talking about your $40, $50, $60 records. At the time, I just got it for the price of a 12-inch. Yeah, this is the Female Medical College of Pennsylvania EP by Identified Patient. Really cool, kind of throwback EBM industrial to a certain extent. Love this shit. B1, the B side I guess is a little bit stronger than the A side. B1 MGD I think is my fave track on this one. What are the notes have I got here? Heavy industrial techno acid, some electro, a haze of reverb hanging in the air. Yeah, MGD is like trippy, almost 90s vibe acid techno. And then the second track after it on the B side is heavier groove kick drum, noises on top, all very tightly produced. A-side's a little bit more lo-fi and distorted, but again, a little bit of 90s style acid too on there. So overall, just a really cool EP. Identified Patient, I recommend them. And that Common Thread label is pretty cool too. So we're into the top 5 here, and we're going with these 5 honestly could be fairly interchangeable. I'd say number 1 has to be number 1 because it's played the most. And they're all electronic, so bear with me on this. If you haven't heard of any of these obscure releases, you should check them out. I will put a link down below. Where we're gonna go? I'm gonna go with the one that's looking at me right now. Okay, I'm just gonna do it. This is gonna be Rosette. Yeah, and this is pretty trippy, odd puppet style. Album cover. It's actually just a single, so it's probably good that I put it lower than the rest because it has less tracks. It really has just one track. It's the Dois track by Rosette, and then Dois remix by Yavas, but just a really cool, odd sort of toy box musical kind of creepy vibe going on this track. It's sort of ambient and intricate and sort of spacey in a way too. Slightly tape lapsed, surreal ambient, maybe a bit cosmic as well. The side A track has a little bit of a beat comes in at some point, a slow-mo groove. But I think side B, the remix, I like even more because it's even more just sort of ambient and sort of trippy, kind of like a weird movie. And it's on the Trilogy Tapes label, which doesn't put any information on their covers, except for on the tiny little spine. So I haven't got the magnifying glass out yet, but it's coming close. Number 3 then. That was going to be 3. That's number 4. Number 3, I'm going to go with this one, Cienfuegos on the Bank label. I mentioned Bank earlier, from New York City. Gotta give him big props. Love this label. Still going. He doesn't put out a ton of releases every year or anything, like maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 a year or something, but there's a 7-inch this year as well on Bank, which is that Nick guy I was talking about. But anyway, Cienfuegos, yeah, this thing is just absolutely sick. Really cool, like ritualistic sort of tribal drums going on. but in a non-organic, I'd say electronic kind of way. It's called Lost in God's Country. Alex Suarez as Cienfuegos. Slow-mo tempo, ritual drumming, meditative. Plus, why don't you just throw in a killer synth acid line too while you're at it, which happens. All the tracks are great, but probably my faves are A1 and both tracks on side B. I mean, all the tracks are dope. Just track number 1 on side A is kind of an ambient sort of intro thing, I think, but otherwise, absolutely solid EP. Really cool label, Bank. So I'm all about that. Put a link down below for that. Check it out. And what have we got? Number 2, number 1. So this almost made my number 1 because it's played a lot, but both of these are really played a lot still to this day. What are we, like 7 years ago that this stuff came out? This is on Lies, the Lies label, and I love their low budget kind of logo look there with the MasterCard and Amex, etc., and the phone number. Going old school there. This is the artist 33.10.3402 on Lies 73, and it is an excellent piece of ambient, interesting stuff. Again, kind of tribal, ritualistic, meditative as well. A little bit more up-tempo than that last Cienfuegos one. I would say at least the B, or the A side is a little bit more up-tempo or mid-tempo, but the B side 2 is my jam, my favorite jam, El Viv, and that one is even slower mo kind of stuff. It's repetitive and ritual drums, but with some really cool, like searing kind of dramatic noise drone happening in there as well. Yeah, just overall very well done. The artist is actually not named that, but it's from Nenad Markovic from Belgrade, Serbia, and I'll put a link to his Bandcamp. He's got a bunch of releases. Usually they're Mechanica, something to do with Mechanica. This one has Mechanica number 1, which I think is the name of this EP if you look it up on Discogs. So yeah, Lies, Long Island Electronic Systems, great New York label. I think they're kind of based out of Paris now. I think the owner moved overseas, but that was a really killer release of the year. But the release of the year, number 1, my number 1 pick for 2016 is going back to Bank Records again. Bank, New York City, and an artist that I've shown in the last video, I'm pretty sure, Miguel Enrique Alvarino. Here you go. This is Enrique, and Please Shut the Door. This is a sick single. Yeah, gotta love too, like the design sensibility, the design of this label too is really totally on point. Yeah, this is Please Shut the Door. Just a crazy industrial stomp to this thing. Mid-tempo, got a killer groove, but dirty, distorted kick drums and acid line over top. Heavy synth, raw as hell, raw as F. K-Town, track number 2 is also dope. People Talking, The Laundromat. Those are all 4 tracks are really killer on this thing. Solid EP, top to bottom. If you're looking for raw, industrial, heavy stomp techno, just well done. I'm all about this. Very cool jam. So this is Miguel Enrique Alvarino, and still recording stuff, I think. And but this was definitely some peak years, and it seems like for some of his releases. But Bank Records, and that is my top 12 for 2016. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll put some links down below to those more obscure releases, and stay tuned for a top 5 cassette picks of 2016 and more years to come. See you guys later.